Hi y'all, welcome to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you some tips on how to homeschool multiple grade levels. So stay tuned. Okay, so for those of you who are new, welcome to my channel, Pursuing Peace. My name is Dina, and I am a homeschooling mom of 5 kiddos, 6 and under. I always forget their ages. And on this channel, I share my passions for Christ, for homeschooling, and for encouraging mamas in their faith and in this crazy yet amazing season of motherhood. So if you'd like to join me on this journey, then click the subscribe button down below. And don't forget to click the little bell icon also, so that way you know whenever new videos pop up. Also, follow me over on Instagram at Dina_Pursuing Peace if you'd like to see what we do on a daily basis. Well, I'm excited about today's video. Today is another collaboration with one of my homeschool mamas, Jamie, over at Simply Living It. She is an amazing boy mom, and that's something that I don't know anything about because most of my kids are girls. We only have one boy, but Jamie is just a sweet mama of her boys, and she loves God, and she wants to instill a love of God in her boys also. And so if you haven't checked out her channel, I will leave the link down below so that way you can go and check her out. And there are a lot of sweet, amazing mamas, homeschooling mamas here on this collab also. I will leave the playlist down below so you can check out all of their videos and glean wisdom from them. I know I am excited to see what kind of tips and stuff that they have to share on how to homeschool multiple kids. So thank you, Jamie, for hosting this collab. Now, homeschooling multiple kids at one time can be very challenging, and that's why we have things like this on how to show us how to teach multiple grade levels at one time. But we have to remember also that homeschooling multiple kids, multiple ages, multiple grade levels at one time is such a blessing also, because they learn from each other. I just love seeing my kids learning from one another. And they do learn the bad things from each other, but they also learn the good things from each other. And that by itself makes my job a whole lot easier. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the tips. My very first tip is routine, routine, routine. If you have followed my channel for any amount of time, you know that I thrive on routine. It's the way that I run my home, all of our cleaning chores, our homeschool day, it all runs on a routine. Now, I thrive on a routine, but I know that also kids thrive on routine. At least for my kids, I know that if they know what is coming next, then it's a lot easier to get them to do that thing that I'm trying to get them to do. So for instance, if they know that the next thing that we do is clean the living room, then they know, okay, it's time to clean the living room. And I don't get a lot of that pushback of, well, no, I don't want to clean the living room right now, because they've already had it in their minds that this is what we do next, and so this is what we're going to do. And I know that when we get this done, we are going to move on to something else. Before we start school, what do we have to do?
Clean up the living room.
Clean up the living room. And if your kids are older, then they can kind of start doing stuff on their own. For instance, if they know that the next thing they do in their day is school time, or they know the next thing they do in their day is math, then they can go get their own books and start on their math without you even having to tell them that that's the next thing. And that will help you, because that's one less kid, I guess, that you have to lead. I was going to say manage, but I don't know if that's necessarily the right word, because I guess what I'm trying to say is we are trying to teach them in everything, even teaching them how to build their own routine, because that's going to benefit them in the long run. That's going to benefit them in their lives when they go to college, when they have their own home, when they have to balance a career between having kids and God. You know, they are going to be able to establish their own routines if they have an idea of how to do that. So that would be my very first suggestion, is to get on some sort of routine. Notice I did not say schedule. A schedule would be where you have everything laid out by time, and a routine would be where you have like things laid out by subject. So for a schedule, you could say from 10 to 10:30, we're going to do math. From 10:30 to 11, we are going to do Bible. Like you have it written down like that. A routine would more so be like, well, first we're going to do math for 30 minutes, and then we're going to do Bible for 30 minutes. And so what I like about having a routine versus a schedule is that you can get that routine and kind of pick it up and put it wherever you need to put it during the day. And you can always change the times on your routine, and it would still have that same flow where your kids would know, okay, I'm going to do this next. I might not do this for as long, but this is where I'm going next. So routines just make life easier. My number 2 tip is to teach them as much as you can together. Now, obviously, not everything can be taught together, but some things can be, like science or history or Bible. That can all be taught together no matter what grade levels you have. Like the high schooler will probably enjoy the science project just as much as your elementary student will. They might not grasp everything on the same level, but you can still do it together and your kids will still learn at the same time. Now, like I said, not everything can be taught together. For instance, like language arts and math is another one that should probably be more focused to their individual needs and abilities, but you'll be surprised how many things can be taught together. And there are several curriculums out there that are geared towards having kind of a one schoolroom, if you will, environment. I know The Good and the Beautiful, which is the curriculum that we love, all of their sciences are geared toward that, where everybody's learning at one time. I know their history is geared toward that, and a few different electives are geared toward that. I know that Jamie, the sweet mama that is hosting this collab, she uses Gather Round homeschool curriculum, and that one is another good one to check out if you are trying to find a curriculum that can be taught in a group setting. Now, my children are still very little. Like I said earlier, my oldest is 6. So I have a first grader, a kindergartner, a preschooler, a tot schooler, and a 6-month-old. And so when you have children that small, even though their ages are close together, their ability gaps are further apart. So like my oldest can read, and she can read very well, but even my kindergartner, who is only a year younger than her, can't. And so it really limits what I can do with them all together, because also like their attention spans are not the same. So we do things together, like we do our Bible together and we do our science together, but the meat of our homeschool, like language arts and math, we don't really do together as a group. Which brings me to my next tip, and tip number 3 is designate a one-on-one time with each of your kids. Now that might seem like a lot, and that might not be doable for a lot of y'all. If y'all have like 10 kids, that might not work. But I know, at least for me, we have 4 that I am schooling, you can say schooling right now, and I have designated one-on-one time with them. And what's wonderful about that is, aside from actually schooling them, is when you have multiple kids, it's very easy for 1 or 2 or 3 of them to get kind of lost in the mix. And so having that designated one-on-one time with each of them helps them all to kind of feel like they've had their mom time for the day. Now, you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours on each of them, especially when they're super young. So for instance, my 2-year-old, we do some tot schooling with her, and I do have a video about what we do with her, and I will leave that in the description down below so you can check that out if you want to. But I really only spend 10 minutes of designated one-on-one time with her. For my preschooler, it's 20 to 30 minutes. For my kindergartner, it's about 45 to an hour, and with my first grader, it's an hour. And so it just depends on their age and how much one-on-one time they can actually handle. But I can tell you that the 10 minutes that I spend with my toddler of it just being me and her is enough. Like, she loves that. She absolutely treasures that time that I get to spend just with her. And something that I tell my children also is that this time right now, mama is spending with Adeline, or this time right now mama is spending with Abigail. And so, you know, they're little, so they come up to me, mama, can you help me do this? Or mama, can you do this with me? And I try to be so patient with them. It doesn't always happen, but I try to be patient with them, and I try to tell them, baby, this is my time with Solomon, or this is my time with Aubrey. I love you and I want to listen to what you have to say to me, but let's wait until I'm finished with my Mama Solomon time, just like I had Mama time with you. And normally they understand that. Normally they understand that, hey, I had Mama time with Mama just a little while ago, and so this is their time, so I need to leave them alone for a little bit, and then they go off and they play. If they did have a question, I try, and again, I can't always remember everything, but I really try to go back and ask them what that question was, just so they know that they are being heard. Now, I used to try and do a lot of their subjects all together, you know, because I was trying to be that good multitasking mama that I think we all strive to be at some point. And not that multitasking is bad. I think it's necessary for some of the things that we do on a daily basis. But I know for me, for myself, I found that as I was multitasking, I was not doing anything well. Everything was just getting little bits and pieces of my time, of my mind, of my heart, and that included the kids. And so a motto in our house is focus on one thing at one time, and that plays into our homeschooling. So when I'm with all the kids, especially too because they are so young, they all want to talk at one time, and I want to hear what they each have to say, but I can't understand them when they are all talking at one time, and it can get very frustrating. And you mamas know what I'm talking about. When they're all talking at one time, it can get overwhelming. And so I stop them and I tell them I need to focus on one thing at one time. And I want to teach them to do that also, because I want to teach them to give their 100% to one thing and not to fall into that trap of having so many distractions going on that you're really not paying attention to any one thing at one time. And nowadays that is such an easy trap to fall into. I know I have to deal with that every day, not just with my kids, but with my phones and what I'm going to cook, and, you know, 1,000 decisions that need to be made as not only a homeschool mama, but moms in general need to make a lot of decisions in one day. So being able to focus on one child at one time and giving them your full attention is just amazing to be able to do that. Now, my tip number 4 kind of goes into that a little bit. So when you're having one-on-one time with one child, try to have activities ready for the other children. My latest video that I posted was about what I put in my toddler busy bins, and I will leave that link down below so you can check that out. But I like to have activities ready on hand for the other kids also, and just small things. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but just like coloring books or Play-Doh or puzzles, or just something that they can just grab and have easily accessible. So that way their little hands, their little brains can be entertained educationally, while I am focused on one child at a time. Now, even though I do like to have activities available to them, I don't always tell them exactly what they need to be doing. Something that I don't like my kids saying is, I'm bored. I heard someone say one time that whenever they said that they were bored as children, their grandmother would tell them, well, go create something. So that's something that I tell my children. Go create something. Go build something. Go make a puzzle. And they will. They always do. So your job as a parent is not to entertain them, but one of our jobs is to cultivate a love of learning. And so having the items there for them is great. But not necessarily saying, okay, this is what you do next, and after this, this is what you do, and after this, this is what you do all day long. Sometimes they just sit for a while until they figure out on their own what they can do. Sometimes they will just go and play with pieces of paper or play with a box or play with something like that is just them creating and playing and being kids, basically having imagination and being kids. So yes, have activities available for them, but don't feel like it's your job to always have them entertained all day long. Let them explore. And number 5, my last tip for you guys is to let them teach each other. Now, like I said, my oldest is 6, so we are just now getting to the point where my oldest daughter can help teach the other kids. For example, the other day, we are in the middle of potty training my 2-year-old, and so she needed to go to the restroom. The baby started crying, just things started happening. I didn't really want to lose a lot of time. Oh, I needed to switch out laundry, but I didn't want to lose a whole lot of time with Solomon, and so I asked Abby if Solomon could read to her. And so he did. He sat there and he read to her, and she helped him on words that he couldn't he couldn't sound out on his own. And it was a really beautiful thing to watch. And if you follow me over on Instagram, one of my stories that I recently put up is Solomon, my 5-year-old, teaching my 2-year-old her ABCs and playing with a puzzle together. And so it's just a beautiful thing to see. And it's neat to see their different teaching styles. And it's neat to kind of hear the little phrases that you tell them as you're teaching them come out of their mouths as they're teaching the other kids. Yeah, you did it!
K. Put it on.
It's just so neat. I just absolutely love them teaching each other. So if you can, especially if you have older kids that can really teach the younger kids, then take advantage of that. It's such a great skill to have, to be able to have patience and to be able to teach someone something. Because if you are able to teach someone something, then it means that you have actually learned it and you are being able to convey that information to somebody else. And so if you are able to do that, then let them teach, let them help you. So those are my 5 tips, and I want to share with you guys, our days are not always perfect. Our days do not always go smoothly. And even though I have activities for them and I let them be bored and I let them do all of that, sometimes mama is done. And so give yourself grace. If you have multiple kids and you're trying to homeschool all of them, give yourself grace when it's just a sit down and watch some TV type of day. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes I just turn on the TV when I'm done and I'm a little bit frustrated and I don't want to blow up at the kids. I let them sit and I let them calm down and watch TV for a little bit. And that's okay. Now, I'm not saying to always do that, but sometimes, every once in a while, that just needs to happen. And I want you to know that you can give yourself grace when that does happen. It doesn't mean that you hate your kids. It doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. It means that you were trying to be a good parent. Kids can learn from TV shows. I learned a lot from watching TV, so don't believe that nothing good comes from television. All right, you guys, well, those were my 5 tips. I hope that this was encouraging and helpful to you. If it was, leave me a comment down below and let me know if you have any tips on how to teach multiple grade levels at one time. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so that way you know whenever new videos pop up. I have some fun and exciting videos coming soon, so be sure to subscribe. And let's be friends and follow me over on Instagram at Dina_pursuing peace. And as I'm editing this video, I realized that I forgot to mention the collab at the very end of my video, because I want you guys to go and glean wisdom from all of these other amazing mamas. So again, thank you, Jamie, so much for hosting it, and I will leave her channel along with the playlist of the other videos down below in the description box, so you can go and check those out. All right, y'all. Well, my kids are waking up from their nap, so I think I gotta get going. But I will see you guys next week with a new video. So I hope you're having a blessed day. Bye. So I love, no. You don't need to hear about that. Baby schooler? No, that's not actually a thing. Now, obviously, not everything can be taught to death.